Town City Council to order, and just ask everyone to look around the room and get your bearings as to where everyone is located. First, like to thank the County of Grey for sharing their space with us over the next perhaps few months while City Hall undergoes the repairs. Ask that you join me in a moment of silent reflection at this time. Thank you. Are there any additional items for tonight's agenda? Councillor Twaddle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to raise the issue of the library closing on Mondays.
Councillor Boddy.
Thank you, Your Worship. I wish to bring the report from the Parking Committee to Council.
Councillor Lemon.
Yes, Your Worship, I would like to speak about the picnic.
Any other members of council? Councillor Chamberlain.
I would like to talk about a unique water event.
Members of staff. Councillor Purdon.
About an additional item of extension agreement on 747 2nd Avenue East.
Thank you. Any member of staff? Ms. Coulter.
Your Worship, just regrets from Jean Francis, who won't be attending council this evening.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Staff is requesting that we defer the report under 12B6 to another date. And there will be one additional bylaw this evening. Bylaw number is 2012-121. A bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a tax arrears extension agreement between the corporation and the city of Owen and the local industries respecting property located at 748 2nd Avenue East.
Thank you. No additional items. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, please. Councillor McManaman.
Your Worship, I disclose a pecuniary interest on a matter on the in-camera agenda.
Thank you. Councillor Twaddle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll be disclosing a pecuniary interest with regards to the parking issue that is before council in the minutes tonight, and I think with Mr. Boddy's, Councillor Boddy's additional item, and also with regard to the minutes of the last meeting. Had I been at that meeting, I would have declared a pecuniary interest on the parking issue. The proposal as has come forward will have a direct, could have a direct financial impact on my employer, the Alzheimer's Society. For that reason, I'm declaring a pecuniary interest.
Those are noted. Councillor Lemon.
Your Worship, I will be declaring a pecuniary interest in the consent agenda where it deals with Cobble Beach and the placing of a sign on the city sign. As a member of my family is an employee of Cobble Beach.
Everybody, okay. Confirmation of the minutes, please, from the June 25th meeting.
Moved by Jan Chamberlain, Councillor Jan Chamberlain, and seconded by Councillor Colleen Purdon, that the minutes of the regular meeting of City Council held on June 25, 2012, as printed, be adopted.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Minutes of the public meeting of City Council held on June 25th, please.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Purdon, that the minutes of the public meeting of City Council held on June 25, 2012, respecting zoning bylaw amendment number 6, Villers-Boit Development Corporation, as printed, be adopted.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Resolution moving council and committee of the whole, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Colleen Purdon, Councillor, that City Council now go into committee of the whole to consider public meetings, deputations, public question period, matters arising from correspondence, reports, matters tabled, motions for which notice was previously given, and other business.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you. We have we're in the committee of the whole now. We don't have any public meetings this evening. We do have some deputations, and I will invite Virginia Eichhorn, Director Curator from the Tom Thompson Art Gallery, to step up to the podium. And thank you to Rogers and to our IT staff for their live streaming of this council meeting. Welcome. It's interesting, I have a screen, but I don't have a mouse, so it's
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. It's always nice to come to Council and present some of the really great stuff that's going around in this community within the arts and culture area. And we are here to speak about the 2012, which is the very first year that the Tom Thompson Art Gallery has awarded scholarships to deserving young students in our area. We had hoped that the kids who were the recipients would have been able to be here with us, but as they're all heading off to university, they're all working tonight. So unfortunately, they can't be here. But I have Heather Hughes, who is one of our recent additions to the gallery staff. Heather is our gallery assistant, and she's been working with us and with the students. So she'll tell you a little bit more about the kids and what they did. The Tom Thompson Gallery Scholarship is awarded to a graduating or senior student with a demonstrated interest in the visual arts. The scholarship includes for each student $200 as a cash award, as well as a selection of books. Preference was given to the students who have either volunteered at the Tom Thompson Art Gallery or who've worked there as part of our co-op program or also as volunteers. Preference was also given to those students who are planning to continue in post-secondary studies, majoring in either fine arts or art history. And I'll invite Heather to speak a bit about the students at this point.
Hello, everyone, Your Worship. So there were 3 schools, West Hill Secondary School, OSCVI, and St. Mary's. The recipient of the award from West Hill Secondary School was Shalana Bryant, who is actually, we know her quite well. She's our current studio assistant at the gallery, and she's also quite involved with theater. She's participated in 9 theater productions held at the Roxy, West Hill, and the Youth Theater Coalition in the past couple years. Her most recent one being The Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz, which was this year at West Hill. The recipient from OSCVI was Fiona Watson, and she was last year's co-op student from the Tom from September 2011 till this January. Fiona's quite a character. She seems to enjoy us all at the gallery very much. Last week we were speaking to Daryl from Bayshore Broadcasting, and she was quite, she just kept talking about how everyone at the gallery seemed to have a great personality, and she loved coming in to see us, so that was nice to hear. There were 2 award winners from St. Mary's, the first one being Sarah Campbell, who's attending OCAD this September. She's quite the photographer. I have yet to see her work, but she's friends with Shalana, and Shalana just keeps raving about her photography, so I'm assuming she'll go into that field at OCAD this fall. And then there was another award recipient, Damien Besido, who was the First Nations student who really excelled this year in art classes. He spoke to Daryl from Bayshore about how he was really into making album covers, and so we support all different kinds of artists, and we're very happy that all of these students received this award. They were quite deserving.
And the way that the process works is that there are applications available in each of the high schools for the kids to fill out. They work with their guidance counselors, and the decision actually for who gets awarded the scholarship is made by the guidance counselors in conjunction with the children's teachers. And this is a photo with Heather, Damien, Daryl Morris from Georgian Bay Today, Fiona, Sarah, and Shalana last week when they were on doing their interviews and talking about what they were doing. And we do believe this was a new initiative, and this came out unanimously from the entire staff and volunteers at the Tom Thompson Art Gallery, that we felt this was really, really important for us to do. And the statement that we came out with it is that it is important to recognize and encourage the artistic talent evident in so many of our young people in this area. And this is something we really wanted to develop. We felt it was very much in the spirit and in the legacy of Tom Thompson, in the spirit and the legacy of the Tom Thompson Art Gallery and the role that it plays in this community. It's something that we are looking to continue doing, and if we get a sponsor or something like this, maybe we'll be able to give out more or increase the award a bit. But we thought it was really important to bring forward to Council the recognition of the really amazing things that these young people have done within the community, and that they've been recognized and supported for that.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and I have to say that this is also an anniversary of sorts for Tom Thompson.
That's right. Yesterday was the 95th anniversary of Tom Thompson's passing, and if you were on Facebook or Twitter, it was absolutely all over everything, and there were a number of different events that took place. There was a huge canoe flotilla in Canoe Lake, lots and lots of stuff going on that was very exciting.
It's great when we recognize our heritage, as well as we give great recognition to the kids in our community that are pursuing careers in the arts and culture area. So thank you so much for bringing this to us. Are there members of council who have any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great summer. I know my voice is a little bit annoying, maybe more annoying than usual. It sounds bad, it doesn't hurt. It'll pass. And I'm going to ask now, invite Kathy McCoy and Tom Gillespie to bring their good news about the 2012 Dock Party by the Bay. And it looks like you're all ready. And those are the greatest classes. Welcome.
Your worship and member of councils, I'm Tom Gillespie, and I'm from CHC Order of Good Cheer.
And I'm Kathy McCoy from the Old Sound 150th Legacy Fund Committee. Tom, I can see you're getting ready for the biggest outdoor bash of the summer, the Dock Party by the Bay.
I guess I am. I'm dressed like this.
Well, we had better tell the members of council and the people watching at home about this big event and invite them to come.
I'll start it off, Kathy. On Saturday, July 28th, in the parking lot of the Bayshore, there will be transformed into Margaritaville. Northern Harbor will be there playing all their favorite Jimmy Buffett type tunes, and there will be special appearances by Jeff Stevens' band.
That Northern Harbor band, isn't that the band that the Dock radio station brought to the Robson Theater last year and everyone had such a great time? I heard they're even dancing in the aisles.
I heard that too, but on July 28th, there'll be lots and lots of room to dance. There'll be lots of food, tent, contests and prizes, and just a whole lot of fun. So don your Hawaiian shirts and grass skirts and come on down.
Gates open at 5:30, Jeff Stevens plays from 6 to 8, and then Northern Harbor plays until midnight.
Tickets are on sale now at 92.3 The Dock, the Rocking Wharves, the Candy Store, Owen Sound Tourism, and Owen Sound Transportation.
And there are great group rates available online at ticketscene.ca. So slip on your flip-flops and bring your lawn chair. It's time to party. See you there.
Any questions?
Any questions? Councillor Lemon.
I am properly attired for the event, Your Worship.
There is a visual.
Yeah, well, the grass skirt is definitely out for many reasons. But one of the things that people may not realize is that there's two bands, not one. And so you have the preliminary show, and then at 8, I believe, the Northern group are starting to perform.
That's right, Peter. Jeff Stevens' band is going to start it off for us at 6 o'clock. The gates will open at 5:30. Jeff Stevens will start at 6 o'clock till 8, and then Northern Harbor will start a little after 8 o'clock and go till midnight.
In other words, you're basically getting 6 hours of fantastic music for just $25, which works out to about $4 an hour. And the other question is, you're going to have food there?
Yes. We've got a food booth.
Good. Oh, really good. Are you going to have?
No.
Oh.
No.
I know what you're going to ask, Peter. We're going to have our fish? No, it won't be there.
Yeah, your burgers are pretty good. I like the fish, but the burgers are great too. Thank you.
Councillor Purdon.
So is this a fundraising event as well by the Scenic Order of Good Cheer, or what are the proceeds going towards?
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of confusion with the whole thing too, and all that kind of stuff, where it gets the dock party by the bay. But it's a joint effort by the 150th Legacy Fund Committee and ourselves, the Order of Good Cheer, to raise some money for the community. I know that, I'm pretty sure the Legacy Fund is going in to be able to give grants and stuff to people, and that's the word I'm thinking. But anyways, as far as the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer goes, it is going into our coffers, and as you all well know, that we haven't figured out what our next project's going to be. But when you take the ice rink and you take the splash pad, we want to come up with something that's maybe as good as that, and it's hard to find. But we're working on it. We're really working on it, and we'll be there, believe me. There's no doubt about it.
So I want to say thanks. Sure. Thanks for all that good community work. So it's a big party where everyone can have fun, and it's going towards the community. That's great.
That's the whole idea. We said the tickets are $25 a piece. They're available at the outlets. If you do want to buy them online at Ticket Scene, you can buy, instead of $25, you can buy 4 of them for $80, which is a little bit of a break. Yeah, and there will be tickets at the gate also that night. So.
Or 8 for 150.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, and thank you to the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer for all the good stuff that you do in our community. I mean, right from way back, the benches along the waterfront at the harbor area, right through to the splash pad, which is incredibly busy.
Yes.
That splash pad has provided so much entertainment for so many children, so many families. It really is their summer vacation to be able to just get there and spend a day and have a picnic. So it's tremendous work. And we'll all see you, Peter, take those glasses off. We will all be there, and we will see you at the dock party by the bay.
Your Honor,
Thank you.
We appreciate the accolades, but we've got together with the Legacy Committee on this one, and we hope it's a good success, because if it is, we're sort of imitating the one they have up in Midland. They've been going for 7 years now, and this year they had 3,200 people at their events. So if we can get this off the ground and getting rolling, it's our idea to keep it going every year, and hopefully we can turn it into an event like that every year. So everybody come on out, have some fun, and join us.
We'll show Midland. Thanks. Have a great evening. Moving along, we have a public question period. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to ask a question of council? Yes, please feel free to come to the podium. If you could just state your name for the clerks, for the record, please.
Jackson.
Hello.
My question is about the sanctuary closing.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next step for these people that don't have a place to go? That's my question, you know.
That's a tough question. The sanctuary is temporarily closed, I understand?
Yes.
I think that, it's something that the County of Grey, I know, Wednesday at the Social Services Committee is going to be having a discussion around that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any more information for you at this time. I think that there's a great need in the community for a residential a place where people can go
I
for
shall.
resources. And I think that there are a lot of very interested and well-intentioned groups that perhaps maybe they can collaborate and put something together that would fit that need. But I do understand that there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, well, they're everywhere, so no one's down.
Pardon me?
I mean, there's a lot of people in no one's down there, they're the homeless. Down by Union Place, over the bridges,
Yeah.
you know, they come to our door, we have to say no. We can't keep holding the bill.
There's no easy answer, and I do think that it's going to take a lot of different organizations, a lot of different agencies to come together and pool their resources and work together. It's a bigger problem than one group, I think, can answer. But I encourage you to contact the Family Y housing program and Grey County Social Services, and those are the systems that are in place, and I would hope that they would assist you.
But those are temporary things.
Pardon me?
They are temporary. You go to the Y housing, they'll get you a few days.
Mhm.
You know, then they're out, then they're at the sanctuary. I work there. I work at the sanctuary. I work at Victoria's Limit Center.
Yep.
I'm very proud to work there. And these people come and we have to say no. It's like slapping them in the face. That's, you know, it breaks my heart.
I would encourage you to get in touch with Grey County Social Services, and certainly the Social Services Committee meets on Wednesday of this week, but I would encourage you to get in touch with the County of Grey. We happen to be meeting here tonight at the City of Owen Sound. We don't have any staff or capacity to provide social services. It is done by the County of Grey. And you have a lot of strong advocates at the County of Grey on your behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who would like to ask a question?
Good evening. My name is Raymond Boughton, 748 2nd Avenue East. I'm not sure if council is aware, but unfortunately, this story just prior to me about the sanctuary being closed, I'm wondering if council is now aware, I've been made aware, that this is now a national news story in the making. CBC is picking it up, and now we're going to be looked on as our city as a homeless issue. It is going to be an issue, and I'm just wondering if council is aware of that.
I think you're making us aware.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other members of the public who have a question this evening? Seeing none, we'll move along. We have correspondence. We don't have any correspondence this evening. Reports and matters table. We have quite a hefty consent agenda this evening. Pardon me, a number of business application license. I'd also like to make it quite clear that in the last 6 months, our economic development director could provide a list, I'm sure, to all of council, that in the last 6 months in the downtown area of Owen Sound, there has been 20 new businesses open in the core. And I think that that's a very good news story. Media doesn't always like to cover the good news, but I do think that that is a very good news story in these difficult times. And certainly, we live in a very generous community that does try to reach out and help those who are much less fortunate than us. Consent agenda, what's council's, thank you, Councillor Chamberlain.
I'll move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
All those in favor?
Your Worship, be it noted that I was not voting on that part of the consent agenda that had to do with the Cobble Beach sign.
Yep. Thank you. Duly noted. All those opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. We are at item number 1 under the reports, and we have Dave Aston from MHBC Planning here with a official plan 5-year review, proposed amendment number 4. Ms. Coulter.
Thank you, Worship. Worship, I told Mr. Aston that he would really be here in a capacity to answer any questions tonight. Last time council did receive a presentation on the OP 5-year review. Certainly, it's a process that began with a report last September through our Community Planning and Heritage Advisory Committee. There was, of course, the required public meetings, statutory open house. We had our special public meeting. Then we had 2 official public meetings. Since last council meeting, we did receive 2 items of correspondence. One was from the Métis Nation of Ontario, as well as from Villers-Bois, and the report that you have addresses those concerns. I would also note that we did make the change in the official plan with respect to the heritage study, as council had requested. So certainly Mr. Aston's here to answer any questions tonight, but the recommendation is that council, there's a bylaw tonight where council would adopt the official plan, and it would be sent to the County of Grey for approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Twaddle?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, I don't have a question. I just would like to move the recommendation that we approve the bylaw and send it to the county.
Thank you. Motion's on the floor. Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. A question, the letter we received from the Métis Nation, just a question or concern. There are a number of Métis groups that, I don't know if this is to Mr. Aston, I guess, a number of Métis groups that are out there. We received a letter from one, not to mention First Nations communities, and I'm just wondering about the, including this clause around the Métis Nation of Ontario as opposed to, well, not as opposed to, but what about the other First Nations components? What about the other Métis groups that claim jurisdiction?
Perhaps I'll just start and then Mr. Aston can add anything that I've missed. Section 852 is a new section of our official plan, and it does deal with consultation with not only Métis, but the first section deals with consultation with First Nations on development applications, and I think the city has a really good track record in terms of doing that. The second paragraph is the more specific policy around Métis traditional waterways, but it would certainly be inclusive of all First Nations, or sorry, all of the Métis communities, not specific to the Métis group that wrote to council.
Councillor McManaman.
Well, just further to that, the only thing I would say is the comments are very specific as far as we're going to work through the Métis Nation of Ontario and the Georgian Bay Traditional Territory Consultation Committee. And I guess my question is, I'm all in favor of consultation. Is that too specific, is my question? Or comment, maybe?
Through you, Your Worship. The policy in itself is to be used as a guiding framework to consult on applications that are necessary to consult with the First Nations group or the Métis Nations group with. The broader policy that Ms. Coulter had mentioned is a general policy that is one that would capture consultation with all First Nations groups in general. The second is the more specific from the Métis Nation is implementing the letter that was received as part of the public comments and received through consultation and discussion with the Métis Nation. So as established protocols occur, the city would look to those as part of the necessary consultation requirement as applications or other requirements for consultation occur. So that's how I see that policy working. It's just a provides more detail to the broader policy on consultation. And perhaps Ms. Coulter may have more to add, but that's how I see that policy working.
Mr. Lemon.
Well, further to the point raised on the consultation process, I'm a little concerned because the word consultation, what we mean and what perhaps the Métis or First Nations may mean, may be quite different. And as an example, if somebody wants to develop some land, I'm not talking about water lands necessarily, but any land, does consultation have to occur? That's part one of my question. On an existing piece of property within the city, because the way this reads, any house that's going to be built has to go through a consultation process. I'd like an answer to that, please.
Through you, your worship, the city certainly follows the required protocol under the Planning Act in terms of notices that are sent for an application under the Planning Act. On applications where, for example, for site plan approval, where we're not really required to consult, we're also often sending those to SOAM and our Métis partners. And in this case, it resulted in this particular group providing some more detailed comments that actually articulate the nature of their interest in terms of access to the shoreline and to those waterways. The new Grey County official plan, I think as it was approved, it's my understanding that that OP as well has policies in a general nature that talk about First Nations consultation.
But what, okay, I guess I'm not phrasing it correctly. I'm not disagreeing with consultation, but are implicit in this, are we giving an overriding right that the First Nations or the Métis have to agree with the development? Or can it be interpreted as this?
Through you, your worship, we're consulting. We're dialoguing, we're consulting.
I don't know that it can be defined any less detailed or more detailed other than consulting. Through the process itself, as we know, the definition becomes clearer, but there is a duty to consult.
I'm not disagreeing with the duty to have discussions, but it's just, I'm worried that that may imply some things that aren't necessarily there.
No. Any further? Councillor Twaddle and Councillor Chamberlain.
Thank you, Your Worship. In fact, I think the Supreme Court has told us what we have to do. And then this is the language that they require. But I think Councillor McManaman has raised a good point where the policy, and I should have picked up on this before, it says, the City of Owen Sound will consult the Métis community, and then it says, working through the Métis Nation of Ontario, Georgian Bay Traditional Territory Consultation Committee. But that's not the only Métis group that has an interest or claims an interest, and I would suggest that perhaps that should be amended to say the City of Owen Sound will consult the Métis community and the First Nations community, and leave it at that and not be specific about which one. The definition of consultation is open to lots of interpretation, but I think it's pretty much been decided what we're obligated to do.
Your worship, if it's council's wish, we can certainly make that change in the document tonight before council adopts the document through a bylaw.
Yeah, and I would include that in my motion.
Councillor Chamberlain.
Yes, and in my understanding of this, and it took me a little while to understand all the official plans, the 5-year review, does this mean when we pass this amendment tonight that it's good for another 5 years?
That's correct.
Okay, well, I think this is very well done. I read a lot. I really was quite pleased with what's in it, including the community garden piece, so thank you very much.
Okay, everybody clear on the motion? Clerks? Yep, okay. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Thanks very much. We have a verbal report now from Dave Aston of MHBC with regards to the design charrette.
Thank you, Your Worship. Verbal, but I brought along some pictures as well.
We like pictures.
If I can find it here. So if you recall, the purpose of the marketing package was really to promote investment and development of the waterfront. The package that has been prepared combines the public ideas that we heard at the design charrette and through some other comments, as well as recommendations and strategies of existing city documents. So we've looked to prepare this marketing document as a piece that puts all of that good work into one document or one material or promotional material that can be used by the city to encourage investment in the city. We see the document as a working document or a living document in that it will change over time as development occurs or investment occurs or other properties become available or other incentives are made available through the city, so that it's always a up-to-date piece that can be provided to someone interested in the waterfront. As I mentioned, the document's based on feedback from the design charrette, and the presentation tonight that I want to flip through is an overview of the document itself and identify some of the work that we developed considering the public consultation and the discussions with the landowners. So I've worked through these. We identified some of the waterfront priorities, and again, this was a combination of public comments and recommendations and strategies from other documents, the official plan, the Harborfront Master Plan, for example, and other design guidelines. We had the community visioning session where we asked people what makes a great waterfront, what would you like to see at the harbor, what are some of the obstacles, and what are some of your ideas on promoting the waterfront. And we used those to develop a few concepts or vision drawings for the waterfront. In this case, building on the work that's been done as far as a pedestrian walkway and the heritage information along the walkway, and looking at providing another dock system that would attract boaters, small boaters, and people into the inner harbor, and then hopefully by connection into the downtown, and also some redevelopment opportunity on lands adjacent the harbor. This is just another view of a similar location with a docking system and redevelopment along the harbor front properties. We heard about vendors and looking to try and make the existing waterfront areas more active. So this just shows what that might look like. We heard about different redevelopment opportunities of the lands, and again, just taking some buildings and putting them onto some of the vacant lands within the harborfront to get people thinking about what could happen there when they're looking at the area. And access to the water. It seemed that there was a lot of comment about this great opportunity, this great resource of the harbor, and that people need to have access to it to be able to utilize it. And a connection of the west and east side was something that we heard. People like to walk down the east side or the west side and cross. So that is something that we had also put as a concept. Improvements to existing buildings, including heritage buildings. And this plan identifies some recent and planned investments along the harbor front. It's always good to tell people that other people are investing or developing in the waterfront. This also identifies properties with redevelopment potential and the existing pedestrian pathways and trails and connections to the downtown and the river and the periphery areas. Again, here's the examples. Council knows about these investments that are happening. One almost done, and the top and the bottom are current renderings from landowners for their visions for their properties, and that was important to hear from them as well. And we just looked at preparing a conceptual plan of where buildings might locate. Again, this is to get people thinking about the land that they own, or people thinking about land that's there and how it could redevelop or investment. And part of the process included discussions with the landowners, and a lot of information and thought was given to some of these concepts, and it seemed to really initiate some of the thinking of the landowners, and just as a first document, provide some catalyst to them to be giving some thought to what could be done with their land or investment opportunities. We worked through property profiles. Again, this would serve as handouts to those who may be interested in investing, and it's highlighting different properties that have development or redevelopment potential, and giving information on one page that a person would need with contact information, so that if additional information is required, follow-up could occur. So we've done these for a number of properties, and where we could, we included concept plans that were made available to us. So the next steps would be council approval of the package that was provided, establishing a review team interdepartmental where departments work together and encourage and work through the strategies, developing a 5-year program implementation plan, and monitoring reporting to council on the status of the waterfront strategy on an annual basis. And this goes back to this document this evening being a starting point that would be a working and living document. And that is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there questions from council? I'm sure there'll be questions or comments. Councillor Purdon.
Comments. It's good to see so many of the good ideas in the plan, and I really do like in the report that we have, and that you show these one-pagers on the, you know, the potential site and what's happening with it and what could happen with it. I think that's a very practical document, so I would really like to see this go forward. And I actually would move that we accept this report and the recommendation from the report.
Thank you. We have a motion. Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Worship. A question to Mr. Furness. The one issue I've had with these plans is to make sure that there is someone is assigned the responsibility for a certain part. If there's a part about branding in here, and there's a part about related actions initiatives. I don't have a page number in here, but it's one of the items on here. I guess is the plan, or perhaps this is a question more for the city manager, that it would be someone's responsibility to implement each portion. So maybe it's to the city manager, not Mr. Furness.
Your Worship, through to Councillor McManaman, this is largely in the office of the Economic Development Director to ensure that it's implemented and that it's updated on a regular basis. I can also tell Council that our Investo and Sound project has been working with us as well. So significant portions of the development specific matters will also be looked at by that initiative as well.
Councillor Chamberlain.
Yes, and I will just comment that at the last Economic Development meeting, this was presented, and there was quite a bit of excitement by the whole group. In fact, the group is bringing it back to the agenda for the next meeting, to the action steps piece. And I think we're all very pleased with this report, and I'm hoping that it's up on the website not just in the council minutes and reports. It'll be up on the website for people to look at as well. It's very exciting.
Yeah, the one thing with this document is it's going to be evolving. You're going to get new concepts, new ideas, and as development occurs, I think one of the things that's important to realize is that just because it's a private development doesn't mean there's public amenities around it. And so that's one of the things you heard from some of the input and also some of the concepts that are put forward. So it's going to be it's going to evolve, but we need to take some actions on certain things. And of course, we can't implement all of them in year one, but we'll start the process.
Thank you very much. Further questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation. And this design charrette was certainly well attended back when we did it. And the recommendations and next steps are laid out pretty clearly before us. So we will move along to the report from Manager of Economic Development and Tourism. We need to do that. Thank you. The motion on the floor. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Thank you, Councillor Purdon, for putting that motion forward. We have Steve Furness. He's at the podium and he's ready to go. That's where you do it. Thank you.
Just waiting for the picture. That's not what's on my screen. Is there any way to get this photo on the screen? Okay, so to give reference to the report and the sign that we're talking about, it's as you leave Owen Sound on the west side towards Bombay Beach, there is a sign, a city sign, and this is the back of the sign that Mr. Rob McLeese is talking about. The front of this sign, so that's just the back of an existing sign we have. It has, so this welcomes visitors as they come into Owen Sound, and the back of the sign is where he is asked to put something identifying the distance to Cobble Beach and also Indian Falls. Those are two of the questions we get from people who head out that way and sort of get lost. I don't know that there's can't think of any other reason how we might use the back of that sign, so I thought I'd bring it to council.
Thank you. Comments from council? Discussion? Councillor Boddy. Recommendation. Although, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Councillor Lemon to join us. Thanks very much. We have a report from the city manager with regards to a name gift agreement between a donor, the Owen Sound Family YMCA, and the city of Owen Sound. What is council's direction? Councillor McManaman.
I'd move the recommendation, Your Worship.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We have a report from the Director of Financial Services with regards to 2013 budget dates. What's council's direction on this? Councillor Chamberlain.
Accept the recommendation as presented. Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. That certainly sets our calendars in motion for the last quarter of this year. We have item number 6 will be we're deferring that to a future date. Item 7, report from the director. Oh, we did that. Report from the Director of Community Service with regards to downtown riverfront redevelopment. Council's direction on this. Hello. Councillor Adair.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would move the recommendation.
There we go. Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Your Worship. But I ask, could we have staff sort of give some background on this? I think it's a fairly important motion for the downtown core, and I think it's important that we should highlight what's going on.
Absolutely. Director of Community Services.
Certainly, thank you. Through you, Your Worship, the City of Owen Sound has a very well-developed downtown and harborfront master plan, and this council and previous councils have really made significant progress on implementing that plan, and that plan really sets a positive climate for redevelopment downtown. One of the key strategies of that master plan is to strengthen the image and identity of downtowns, or of Owen Sound's downtown and harborfront. And as you've just heard tonight, through economic development, the city's been working on their waterfront development opportunity strategy. And one of 4 key areas is promoting investment and development on lands in proximity to the harbor. So really, the purpose of this report describes the perception of the 9th Street East and 1st Avenue East urban environment and outlines a possible phased implementation plan. And that plan really is an initial meeting with a landscape architect and city staff to begin to talk about design opportunities. And really, what this is about is the anecdotal comments about a perceived safety concern in certain areas of the downtown. And the idea is to try to get at some of those concerns that have their origin in the existing built environment within the public realm, in the public spaces down there. So we would do an initial meeting and then do a preliminary design concept toward a phased implementation strategy over a number of years. You'll see that staff is recommending that we retain Northwood Associates because of all the work they've done to date in the downtown, and that funding for the project would be through the Green Municipal Fund.
Thank you very much for that overview. And I can't help but think about Councillor Twaddle with this particular project. And this is something that you've been very supportive of over the years. And I can say that it's great to see we're at this point. What is council's direction? Did we have a mover? Thank you. To the motion, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. We have a report from the Heritage Planning Coordinator with regards to heritage property tax class relief. And these are specific agreements with owners who have applied for the heritage property tax relief. Councillor Adair.
Thank you, Your Worship. We're happy to move the recommendation.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. We have a report from Doug Cleverly with regards to the Tall Ships Rendezvous 2013. Some correspondence that's been received. Councillor Lemon.
Motion to receive the correspondence package.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Sorry, Your Worship. Your Worship.
Yes. Councillor McManaman.
Just a question on that, if I might. So for the tall ships, they're talking about the 3 dates at next August, 16, 17, 18, so that's exciting. Could I ask, I guess it'd be the Director of Community Services, on the budget, so we're moving forward with all of this, assuming that there's a provincial grant coming forward. Is it anticipated that provincial grant will cover, it talks about the budget that was presented last year. Is it anticipated that provincial grant will cover that entire budget?
Through you, Your Worship, the city budgeted $5,000 in 2012 and committed $20,000 in 2013. The resolution that council is asked to consider, as Councillor Lemon has moved, asked you to receive it, but also then, subject to the changes recommended by staff and the city solicitor, that the mayor and clerk would be authorized to sign the agreement. We understand that the provincial announcement of the Blockbuster Grant will be happening soon. Upon signing the agreement by the end of July, we would have to pay $2,500, which is within the $5,000 that's budgeted this year. It's our understanding that we would get that money back through the provincial grant, and should the grant not be received, the city would be able to terminate its participation at that point and not pay the remaining $2,500 in 2012. So I think the answer is it's expected that the Blockbuster Grant would cover those expenses. Moving forward, I know that Mr. Cleverly talked when the original business plan and budget came forward about, trying to make it budget neutral. And I said to you at that time, I certainly would not guarantee you that this event, even with the Blockbuster Grant, would cost the city no dollars. And council budgeted $5 in 2012 and $20 in 2013 for this major provincial initiative. Owen Sound's one of a handful of ports that would host this event. It's a really tremendous opportunity for the community. And I certainly would note too that Summerfolk is really, the weekend corresponds with Summerfolk, but they're really interested in working with us and jointly promoting the event.
Thank you. Councillor Body.
Thank you, Your Worship. As I read through this, I just want to be clear on this budget as well. Is the government grant likely just to cover the cost of the contract with the promoter developer? I notice within some of the terms of their contract that we still could have to pay show money to get certain boats to show up, and I just want to make sure that some of that grant is available for that, because we could be paying the developer and end up with very few or maybe no boats if we don't have enough money to attract them.
As soon as we have information on the grant, what I would endeavor to bring back to council is a revised budget based on our knowledge of what we were able to get from the grant and then council's budget. So if I could endeavor to bring you back a more detailed budget, I would do that.
Thank you. To the mover of the motion, your motion is to just receive, or is it the recommendation?
Full recommendation, Your Worship, because I believe the tall ships are an opportunity that we can develop into a major event on the waterfront. And the view of watching those ships sail up the Sound will be just fantastic. And I imagine our port will be full of visiting boats as well as the tall ships. And try and book a room in Owen Sound will be impossible. So it's good news, and it's something that we need to continue on with. And we do have the money in the budget, so this is not a new item or anything like that. And my experience living down by the harbor, when you get a unique vessel in, you get all kinds of people in huge numbers.
Certainly have that experience from the Navy ship that was in last year. Okay, the recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Report from Environmental Superintendent with regards to insurance implications with regards to roof rental for the solar panels. This is one night I didn't really want to talk at all. What is council's direction here? Councillor Chamberlain.
I'll move that we accept the report.
That's what we need. Is there any discussion? At the end of the day, the solar panels are a good thing for the city, and a good thing in terms of potential revenue generation. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We have a report from purchasing agent with regards to tender 1213. Councillor Purdon.
Move the
recommendation that the tender be awarded to the lowest bid.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. We have a report from purchasing agent with regards to a request for proposal for replacement of the East Harbor Wall docks. Councillor Lemon.
Your Worship, I'm not sure exactly how many years the current docks have been there, but I think it's got to be something like 20 at least, and it's time to upgrade and to encourage people to come in and take advantage of our harbor. And so I would move the recommendation, replacement East Harbor Wall docks be awarded to T&W Enterprises, the lowest bid received.
Thank you. This is a 20-foot long dock, each component, and there will be 5 of them. The width is about 8 feet. So this is a terrific opportunity for visiting boaters to tie up and get on land and get their land legs underneath them, or gather supplies, whatever they need. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you.
I may interrupt. If we could go back to the last matter, which was moved by Councillor Purdon. I'm a little confused. I think she asked that it be moved, that it be awarded to the lowest bidder. However, I think reading the report, that's not quite. I think it was the lowest bidder that happened to meet the specifications. I just want that to be clear. I actually didn't vote in that because it went by too quickly and I wasn't sure what was intended there.
Councillor Burden?
I apologize for the error. I wanted to move the recommendation that's printed, and it is the lowest bid that met the specifications.
Thanks for that clarification. Thank you. We have 7 boards and committees for approval. Council's direction on those, please. Councillor Lemon.
Motion to approve all 7, C1 to 7.
Thank you. Questions? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. 2 sets of in-camera minutes. Councillor McMahon.
Thank you, Worship. So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. We have 1 set of in-camera minutes for receipt.
I'll move those
Councillor
as well.
McMahon.
Move those as well, Your Worship.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now at other business, and I'll go to Councillor Twaddle, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was distressed, to use the politest word I can think of, to read in the media that the North Grey Union Public Library Board has decided to close Mondays so that staff can get their work done. This amounts to closing on Mondays and opening a half an hour later each morning, amounts to an almost 22% reduction in service, but with 0 corresponding reduction in costs. Again, to use the politest terms that come to mind, this is not, I believe, a responsible decision on the part of the library board. I'm distressed also that there was really no public notice or opportunity for the public to have any involvement in any discussion around this until after the fact. It also happened, I believe, and I stand to be corrected on this, but I believe the library board doesn't meet again until September, is not scheduled to meet until September. So they did it at the last meeting, and I'm not sure when this change is supposed to take place, but what I read in the media was that it would take place as soon as possible. I'm not sure what that means. I think this is a tremendously damaging decision. This is my personal view. To the reputation of the library, based on one headline we saw in last week's newspaper. I'm sorry to have to base all my information on what I read in the newspaper, but with the exception of an email from Councillor Adair, who sits on the library board and who, I'll note, did not support this decision, we've had no communication about this, although we are the largest funder at approximately 60% of the budget. But I know that at least one other member of municipality is not pleased with this decision. I would like to move that this council request in the strongest possible terms that the North Grey Union Public Library Board reconsider this ill-advised decision quickly and hopefully reverse it. And if that means calling an emergency meeting or a special meeting of the library board, I think they should do that, and they should certainly reconsider this decision before it's implemented and reconsider public reaction and also the impact that this will have on the public. Later this year, this council is going to be faced with some extremely difficult budget decisions around levels of service across the city. And we may or may not be adjusting service levels. But the adjustments will be made with some eye to corresponding reductions in costs in order that there be some benefit to the taxpayer. As my understanding is that this decision at the library has absolutely no benefit to the funding, to the 3 municipal councils that fund the library. I could go on for a long time, but I am distressed that this decision was made. It was made in some haste. The timing is suspicious, not auspicious. I certainly hope that council will support an urgent request to the library board that this be reconsidered. I did have some conversation with the chairman of the board as well shortly after this decision was reached. He also did not support this decision. And I think that's important to note. So I hope that council will support my motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. A few speakers. Councillor McManaman.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would certainly support it, and I would go further. In fact, I agree with Councillor Twaddle that the only information I have on this is from the media as well. So I think it's imperative that this council be brought up to date. You know, these issues and these reports that we've heard about, but we actually have never seen or considered. As the largest funding partner and also with the largest membership on the board, the city appoints 5 members of the 9-member board. I think it might be helpful for, first of all, council to sit down with, if not the entire library board, certainly our members of the library board, to review these reports that are out there, and also to perhaps formulate a city position from that. I think it would be helpful for any board member to hear the discussion from council on their views on the matter. You know, over the years we have received, I understand it's about staffing, again, through the media, but we've seen reports over the years about, you know, requests for one additional staff member perhaps over, you know, I was on the library board for a few years and there was those requests that came forward. I don't think there was that request this year, so, but be that as it may, still even if we were to fund, or the board was to fund one additional staff member, I still don't understand the 25% reduction in service. So, and perhaps I hope Councillor Adair might speak to this. There were other options presented I'd like to certainly exhaust all those other options before we talk about a 25% reduction in service. So, just to further to Councillor Twaddle's points, I'm sure we're all getting asked about it. I don't have any information to answer them with, so I think it would be good if we could meet with our library reps and the chief librarian to go over those reports and help to formulate, if there is one, a city position. So I don't know if that's a friendly amendment to the mover or if it's a separate motion, but those are my views.
To the mover.
I certainly agree with what Councillor McManaman is saying. I don't see it as part of my motion because my motion is to urgently communicate through the chairman of the board our desire that the board hold a special meeting and reconsider this decision. Certainly, in the meantime, we can meet with at least the representatives of the 5 representatives appointed by the city who are on the library board, but I see that as a separate motion. I would like sort of an urgent communication from council, if council will support it, to go to the chair of the board.
Sure. Okay, Councillor Lemon.
Yes, Your Worship, I very much support what Councillor Twaddle has said, and I know he was restrained in what he would have liked to have said. I have one possible friendly amendment, and that is that this meeting be convened by the library board prior to any change of service being implemented. I don't want them to change the service and then say, oh, well, maybe we'll have a special meeting. I think that you have that meeting before any change is made at all.
I believe that's what my motion said, Councillor Lemon.
Could you read back the motion, please?
I believe what I said was that this meeting should happen before there's any change in service. And I didn't know when that was supposed to happen, but according to the media reports, it was going to happen fairly soon, and so that this urgent meeting of the board should be held before the service level changes.
If it's in your motion, that's great, but I would like to hear the motion to make sure it is.
The motion reading that the Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library Board reconsider their decision to close on Mondays before it is implemented in an urgent manner.
Thank you. I didn't catch that when the original motion was made. I really feel that the library board, or specifically, I believe this report came from the chief librarian, the city should have been consulted. We have, many of us around this table have sat on the library board or have worked on the negotiating committees with our neighbors. This seemed to blindside everybody. I believe the mayor of one of our neighboring municipalities made the comment that he didn't agree with this decision and it would affect funding. I really think there's something behind this that I would like to find out what's going on, because I was absolutely flabbergasted when I got a phone call from someone saying, well, the library's going to be closed on Mondays, and I assured them that it wasn't, or we would, as council, have known. Well, we didn't. We had no idea. And we were blindsided as well as the public, and I really feel that there's a lot of explaining that needs to go on as to how this report was authored and what is going on there that has changed dramatically since the previous chief librarian.
Councillor Purdon and then Councillor Adair.
Yes, I'd like also to support the motion and thank Councillor Twaddle for bringing this up. I think it's very important to have a sober second thought about this decision, and there's a lot of information that not only this council needs, but also the public needs to have.
Councillor Adair.
Thank you, Worship. I'm having deja vu.